The village of Eldridge nestled like a forgotten dream in the cradle of mist-shrouded hills, where the air carried the scent of pine and secrets. Cobblestone paths wound between thatched cottages, and the central square buzzed with the daily rhythm of life. Farmers haggling over baskets of apples, children chasing kites on the wind, and elders sharing tales by the old oak. It was a place where everyone knew everyone else's business, or so they thought. But beneath the surface, like roots twisting unseen in the earth, lay truths waiting to be unearthed. Lila Hawthorne was 12, with freckles like scattered stars across her nose and hair the color of autumn leaves. She lived in a crooked cottage at the edge of the village with her grandmother, Alara, a woman whose hands told stories of weaving spells into wool and whose eyes held the wisdom of forgotten seasons. Lila's days were filled with wonder, sketching birds in her journal, racing barefoot through meadows, and dreaming of adventures beyond the hills. But her greatest treasure was her friendship with Theo, the blacksmith's son. Theo was all sharp edges and bright grins, with hands perpetually smudged from the forge and a laugh that could chase away storm clouds. They were inseparable, bound by promises whispered under the oak, friends forever, no secrets between us. It began on a crisp autumn afternoon, the kind where leaves crunched like brittle bones underfoot. Lila was helping Alara gather herbs from the forest edge when she spotted it, a glint of silver half buried in the moss. Kneeling, she brushed away the dirt to reveal a locket, ornate and heavy, engraved with swirling vines. Inside, a faded photograph of a woman with eyes like polished jade stared back. Lila's heart quickened. This wasn't village-made. It bore the mark of the traveling merchant, Mr. Voss, who sold trinkets from distant cities every harvest moon. "Grandma, look," Lila called, holding it aloft. Alara's face paled, her fingers trembling as she took the locket. This was your mother's," she murmured, voice cracking like dry twigs. Lila froze. Her mother, long gone to the city lights, had left only echoes. A lullaby hummed in the wind, a scent of lavender on old linens. "She gave it to me before she left. Said it held her heart." Alara's eyes glistened. "But she took something else when she went, a sum of gold from the village coffer, meant for the orphanage. Folks said she stole it, but I never believed. Until now." Lila's world tilted. Her mother, a thief. The village tales painted her as a wanderer, not a criminal. "Why would she?" Lila whispered, clutching the locket. Alara sighed, the weight of years pressing down. "Desperation, child. Your pa was ill, debts piled like snowdrifts. But honesty, it was her chain. She couldn't confess, so she fled." As they returned home, the locket burned in Lila's pocket, a secret too vast to hold alone. That evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills in a blaze of orange, Lila met Theo by the river. They skipped stones, the water murmuring secrets of its own. "What's eating you?" Theo asked, his stone skimming 4 perfect arcs. Lila hesitated, the locket's chain twisting around her fingers. "Ever wonder if your family's got shadows?" she ventured. Theo shrugged, but his eyes sharpened. "Pa says shadows make the light brighter." "Why?" She almost told him then. The locket, the gold, her mother's ghost, but the words caught like thorns. What if he judged her? What if it shattered their oak tree vows? Days blurred into a haze of unease. The village stirred with its own mystery. The orphanage fund, painstakingly saved for a new roof, had vanished from the coffer in the square's locked chest. Whispers flew like sparrows, poachers, outsiders, even a curse from the hills. Mr. Harlan, the stern mayor, rallied a search, his mustache twitching with indignation. "Someone among us has betrayed our trust," he bellowed at the assembly under the oak. Lila's stomach knotted. The theft mirrored her mother's sin, as if history echoed in mockery. Theo pulled her aside after, his face flushed. "Lila, I know who did it." Her breath hitched. He led her to the forge, where the fire's glow danced like imps on the walls. In the shadows, hidden behind bellows, lay a pouch heavy with coins, village gold, stamped with the oak seal. "Pa been struggling," Theo confessed, voice barely above the anvil's distant clang. "The forge debts, he took it for us. Said it'd be temporary, pay back double come spring." Lila's world splintered. Theo's father, kind old Garrick with his rumbling laugh and stories of forged swords. "A thief. I found it yesterday," Theo continued, eyes pleading. "He doesn't know I know. Promise you won't tell. We're friends, Lila. Forever." The word hung between them, a fragile bridge over an abyss. She nodded, throat tight, but inside, a storm raged. Honesty or loyalty? The locket in her pocket seemed to pulse, her mother's eyes accusing from the past. Sleep evaded her that night. Alara found her by the hearth, staring into flames. Truth is a river, child, the old woman said softly, settling beside her. It carves canyons if dammed, but flows gentle if let free. Lila spilled it then, the locket, the gold, Theo's secret. Alara listened, her face a map of sorrow. Your mother drowned in that river, hiding her current. Don't follow her bend. But as dawn broke, Lila wandered the hills alone, the weight crushing. Telling meant breaking Theo's trust, shaming his family, unraveling the village's fragile weave. Silence meant carrying the lie, letting innocence suffer, the orphans shivering through winter rains. By noon, resolve hardened like cooling iron. She couldn't bear the echo of her mother's regret. At the assembly's close, as villagers dispersed like smoke, Lila stepped forward, voice small but steady. I know about the gold. Gasps rippled. Mr. Harlan loomed, but she held the locket high. My mother took from here once, in shame. I won't let it echo. Tears stung as she turned to Theo, hidden in the crowd, his face crumpling. Garrick took it for his forge. Not malice, but need. Chaos erupted, shouts, accusations, Garrick's forge master hands raised in surrender. Theo fled into the hills, his back a silhouette of betrayal. Lila stood amid the storm, the locket slipping from numb fingers into Harlan's grasp. Why? Alara asked later, bandaging Lila's scraped knees from a chase she hadn't joined. Because honesty isn't just words, Lila replied, voice raw. It's the echo that lingers when the noise fades. Word spread like wildfire through dry grass. Garrick confessed fully, the coins returned with interest from his savings. The village, though wounded, mended, a communal forge fund raised, orphans gifted blankets woven by Alara's hands. But Theo's silence stretched like winter nights. Days turned to weeks, the oak barren without their laughter. One frost-kissed morning, as Lila sketched frost patterns on the window, a pebble tapped the pane. Theo stood below, bundled against the chill, eyes red-rimmed. I hated you, he said when she met him at the door. Felt like you chose them over us. Lila's heart ached. I chose us, the real us. Lies would have poisoned everything. He nodded slowly, pulling a small iron bird from his pocket, forged with care. Pa teaching me. Says truth forges stronger. They walked to the river, stones skipping in tandem, the current carrying away the dross. As spring unfurled, green tendrils claiming the hills, Lila hung the locket around her neck, not as chain, but talisman. Her mother's eyes now smiled, freed from shadows. Eldridge bloomed anew, its secrets aired like linens in the sun. Lila learned that honesty was no easy path, thorny and steep, but its echo. That was the song of freedom, resonating through valleys, binding souls not in silence, but in the brave light of day. In the years that followed, Lila and Theo's friendship deepened, a blade tempered in fire. They became the village's quiet guardians, whispering truths where fear bred lies. And on quiet evenings, under the oak heavy with acorns, they'd share stories, not of shadows, but of the light that honesty casts, eternal and unyielding.